Alright, I'm redoing this video because I screwed it all up the first time. These are comic book questions that I am answering for Jacob Lenhoff, Lenhoff. And the first one is, when did I first get into comics? So we're talking around 1979, 1980. We first moved down here to Florida. Every 2 weeks when my mom got paid, she worked at Morton Plant Hospital as a nurse. We went to one of two places. House of Hobbies, which was in business for like 58 years, or a little bookstore that was owned by this old couple down in Pinellas Park. Now, my mom wasn't a big fan of me having toys, but she was always cool with me having anything she considered educational. Models, books, whatever. The bookstore people asked my mom one time if I could have comics, and my mom was like, yeah, fine. Started out with Classics Illustrated. If you don't remember those were stories like Moby Dick, Tom Sawyer, stuff like that, but they were actual comics that illustrated the books. Hence the name, I guess. But the comic that got me into comics was some weird anthropomorphic story about a space duck, I believe. I really don't remember, but that was it. I remember that. Now, so when we went to the bookstore, paperbacks were a nickel, hardbacks were a dime. I remember getting a bunch of Conan, all that stuff, The Destroyer, Casca, the Immortal Soldier. And when they asked my mom if I could have comics, I was expecting, nickel comics, stuff like that. What they actually brought was 42 fucking totes of comic books that they gave to my mom for my bi-weekly $10 allowance. So I ended up with a metric shit ton of comics, a whole bunch of them. That's what started that whole rabbit hole of me collecting comics, which was crazy, but cool, and I wish I still had some of those. My favorite superheroes and why is question number 2. Okay, this is kind of an easy one. My favorite superheroes aren't particularly superheroes. They're Batman, the Punisher, Green Arrow, Black Cat. They're humans who have achieved the peak of physical perfection and mental perfection so that they can run with deities and gods. These people who can move fucking planets, who can, turn back time and mess with shit constantly, because time travel's always such a great idea. But they're the humans that run with them. They're the ones I love. As far as powered heroes, it's always going to be the anti-hero. It's going to be Lobo. That's my favorite powered superhero. My favorite storyline and why will always be the Tower of Babylon by DC Comics, wherein Batman's plans for taking down the entire Justice League in case anything ever happens gets stolen, and the Justice League gets all mad because Batman had these plans in the first place. And they ask him, why did you have these plans? Well, you're gods. You're basically the Greek pantheon of gods, and you can do shit that nobody else on Earth can do. You got a speedster who can turn back time and screw with it constantly, which he does with horrible results. You have a guy who can push the planet out of its orbit, a woman who can do the same, and then you got Martian Manhunter who can do all of that. Plus, you've got all these basically gods, and in a lot of the storylines, they get mind swiped, they get bodies swapped. So you have to have a plan in order to take these people out, and then they get mad because he has a plan in order to take these people out. Should they have brought Vicky Vale from the comics into the Batman movie? No, don't like the character, and Batman is always going to hook up with Catwoman or Wonder Woman. Never a fan of just the regular chicks that he hung out with. Favorite example of comic art and why. Okay, now this is where I had to recut the video last time. So this time we're actually going back so you can see my favorite comic art. My all-time favorite piece of comic art, I do not have a picture of, and I apologize for that, is Bernie Wrightson's Frankenstein splash page. Google it. It's a beautiful piece of art. My favorite piece of art that I actually own is this. Not Spider-Man, sorry, hold on. This piece right here. This is a page from a 1976 issue of Howard the Duck, which is awesome, and it's autographed by the, there we go, autographed by the original artist, Lee Aloha. I'm probably butchering his name. My other favorite artists are always going to be Bernie Wrightson, who created Swamp Thing with Len Wein, Mike Ploog, who did Werewolf by Night. Let me see if I can get a good picture of this. Sorry. Joseph Michael Linsner created Dawn and has done numerous other pictures. Oh, let's see. Adam Hughes, just an amazing artist. Jay Anacleto, whose art is sublimely, beautifully detailed. These are the people I love. These are the comic artists who amaze me and who I just love their work. Let me get out here to my notepad so I can see my other questions, and then I will give them to you. Okay, after the art question, we had which fucking question? Okay, storyline I disagreed with and why. There aren't any particular storylines I disagree with, like, oh, I hated that storyline, it was stupid. There are characters they've kept alive that shouldn't have been, and I don't like them. Guy Gardner's a perfect example. Any storyline with him I find is garbage because I just don't like Guy Gardner. There may be a good storyline with him, but I don't like the character, so I don't read him a lot. My favorite comic villain and why. Okay, so my favorite comic villain will always be Vandal Savage. This guy is a fucking monster. When you think of villains, I don't like to think of a villain that's like, oh, you know, I feel bad. I understand why the guy became a villain. His life was so horrible. No, I want, if I'm talking about a villain, I want a villain. I want a guy who has, you know, kicked the cat, zero fucking joy for anything, will murder indiscriminately and just doesn't fucking care. Doesn't give a shit what he does. He's an evil bastard. Vandal Savage. There's a storyline, forgive me because I can't remember which one it is. It's one of the animated movies where he's talking with Superman. Superman got lost somehow, probably time travel bullshit. He got lost, he comes fucking back, and here's Vandal Savage, and Vandal Savage has killed the world. Not because of, oh, the world would be better, I can bring animals. But no, he's just a dick. He's a fucking dick. He kills the whole fucking world. And he's telling Superman, oh, well, look what I did. I can't die. I don't give a shit. That's the way I like my villains. I love the Joker because the Joker is, without a doubt, the most unlovable person on Earth. And Batman should have put a 45 in the back of his skull at some point, and he would have saved thousands of lives, which collaterally damage. They're Batman's fault. It's Batman's fucking fault when all these people die, when this asshole goes and blows up a museum or a school or something. That's all Batman's fault. That's his fault. That shit is his fault 100% because he should have killed the Joker. So those are the answers to my questions. And if it's a nerd subject, I can talk on it for hours. But I'm trying not to. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoy it. If you disagree with me, that's cool. That's what conversations are for.